The Femme Fatale, a figure whose allure and mystery have captivated audiences for decades. But what makes this character so fascinating? What is it about the dangerous beauty of women like Veronica Lake and Lauren Bacall that keeps us coming back to their stories? In a world where nothing is ever quite what it seems, these women became icons of intrigue, power, and deception. Today, we're diving deep into the evolution of the femme fatale, from her rise in classic film noir to the lasting impact she continues to have in popular culture. The femme fatale's origins in film noir. The femme fatale, as we know her, first emerged during the golden age of Hollywood, especially in the 1940s and 50s, amid the rise of the film noir genre. Film noir, with its moody, shadowy cinematography and morally ambiguous characters, created the perfect backdrop for the femme fatale. These films portrayed women who were not just objects of desire, but complex figures capable of deceit, manipulation, and dangerous allure. The femme fatale was often the one pulling the strings, and this role added layers of complexity to the genre. The genre itself dealt with themes of despair, fatalism, and moral ambiguity, and the femme fatale character was often at the heart of these narratives. Her ability to seduce and control, often leading men to their own destruction, was a perfect reflection of the disillusionment felt during the post-World War I era. Veronica Lake, the first icon, one of the earliest and arguably most iconic representations of the femme fatale was Veronica Lake. Lake's famous peekaboo hairstyle and sultry gaze became synonymous with the term femme fatale itself. Her performance in films like This Gun for Hire, 1942, and The Blue Dahlia, 1946, solidified her as a symbol of mystery and danger. Lake's portrayal of women who could manipulate and control the men around them not only challenged the typical portrayal of women as passive love interests, but also flipped the gender dynamic on its head. Lake's characters were often cold, calculating, and willing to do whatever it took to achieve their goals. In This Gun for Hire, she plays a character who becomes entangled with a hitman, and instead of simply being a victim of his violence, she stands as an equal in terms of manipulation and cunning. Her ability to create a sense of danger with a simple glance or gesture made her unforgettable, and it was her mystery, combined with a cool, almost detached demeanor, that truly defined the femme fatale for audiences of the time. Her character's actions always had far-reaching consequences, making Lake the epitome of the femme fatale who could pull the audience into a thrilling web of deceit. This was no longer the damsel in distress waiting to be rescued by a heroic man. Instead, Lake's femme fatale was the one in control, using both her charm and wits to get what she wanted. Lauren Bacall, the sultry sophisticate. As film noir began to evolve, so too did the femme fatale. Enter Lauren Bacall, who took the role to new heights with her trademark deep voice, piercing eyes, and commanding presence. In films like To Have and Have Not, 1944, and The Big Sleep, 1946, Bacall's portrayal of the femme fatale was not just about seductive power, but about intelligence and self-assurance. Her characters weren't merely passive objects of male desire. They were smart, capable, and knew how to wield their power. Bacall's performances were marked by a confident sense of independence, which reflected the changing role of women in society during the post-war years. The femme fatale of the 1940s and 50s, as portrayed by Bacall, was more than just a manipulator. She was a woman in control of her own destiny, capable of influencing the men around her with intellect and willpower, rather than just beauty alone. Bacall's character in To Have and Have Not is a perfect example of this new kind of femme fatale. She uses her intelligence, not just her allure, to influence the men around her and push the plot forward. This portrayal of the femme fatale was a reflection of the larger societal changes of the time, particularly the increasing independence of women in post-war America. Bacall's sophisticated, strong-willed characters broke the mold, showing that a woman could be both seductive and intelligent, and still hold power in a world dominated by men. The changing landscape of the femme fatale. As society began to shift in the 1960s and beyond, so did the portrayal of the femme fatale. The classic, dark, and brooding femme fatale archetype gave way to more varied and complex depictions of women. Characters like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, 1992, and Angelina Jolie in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 2005, modernized the femme fatale, showing her as not just a manipulator, but as someone with a range of emotions, vulnerabilities, and motives. These characters, while still embodying the seductive and dangerous qualities of the traditional femme fatale, were far more layered. They weren't just defined by their allure or their ability to control the men around them. Instead, the new generation of femme fatales were multidimensional, often driven by personal desires, ambitions, and insecurities that made them more relatable to audiences. Sharon Stone's portrayal of Catherine Tramell in Basic Instinct gave us a femme fatale who was both sexually charged and emotionally complex, and her ability to manipulate the investigation around her was driven by her desire for control and her struggle with her own emotions. Similarly, Angelina Jolie's portrayal of the female lead in Mr. and Mrs. Smith depicted a more playful, yet still dangerous, femme fatale. Here, she was no longer the icy, cold figure of film noir, but a character with warmth, humor, and vulnerability. This shift in the portrayal of the femme fatale reflected the growing desire in society to break down the rigid stereotypes of women being either the virtuous good girl or the dangerous seductress. The femme fatale's lasting influence. Even today, the femme fatale continues to influence the portrayal of women in film and television. Whether in thriller series, action movies, or drama, the femme fatale remains a popular archetype because she embodies a certain mystery and danger that audiences can't resist. From Gone Girl to Killing Eve, modern depictions of the femme fatale reflect the evolving dynamics between women and power, manipulation, and ambition. The lasting influence of the femme fatale speaks to our fascination with women who challenge societal expectations and embrace their power, even if it means bending or breaking the rules. The evolution of this character shows how Hollywood has both reflected and shaped cultural attitudes toward women, and how the femme fatale continues to evolve, keeping us captivated by her strength, complexity, and intrigue. From Veronica Lake's seductive allure to Lauren Bacall's calculated sophistication, the femme fatale has evolved from a symbol of danger and mystery into a multifaceted character that continues to challenge and captivate audiences today. What's next for the femme fatale? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's most fascinating characters.